This study is on the importance of individual freedom within social identity, and it's a review essentially on this guy, Amartya Sen's research. And he's in the 1970s, he started beginning to develop these theories on these ideas of functionalities and capability as they relate to freedom. And one crucial aspect that Sen focused on was viewing freedom as individual capability to do what one has reason to value. And so we given an example of this, if a child wants to go to school, he would say it's not enough to consider if the school is open or if they're legally allowed to go to the school, but you must also consider whether the child's family has enough money to pay for the school, whether a social situation may make it difficult for the child to attend school for any reason. And so in this case, like even though this kid wants to go to school and has the liberty to, they do not have the individual capability to, so they don't have the freedom to go to school. And so he uses this kind of, or this study is about using this kind of framework and looking at the relationship here between this framework and social identity. And that's kind of what the question is about. The method is essentially revolving around a review of this guy's work on the concept of freedom and looking at functionings, capability, agency, freedom, and more. And around 22 resources were used to examine this concept. And the results are very interesting. So the scope of the article primarily focuses on Sen's view of the role of freedom as it relates to social identity, or in social identity being one's belonging to a particular social group. And he noted that it's common for individuals to identify with others in deciding how to fulfill their needs, objectives, desires. It's a primary reason why we like to join different groups and put on social identities. Sometimes so this kind of social group identification can very strongly influence or even determine our own actions and our own ethics and norms. And so Sen advocates for an approach to viewing social identity that does not underappreciate nor over-exaggerate social identity's significance. And so one side of this coin is it's essential to recognize that social identities are crucial to enhancing individual freedom and social justice. The solidarity that these groups encompass often make them stronger together when fighting identity-based oppression. And you can see examples of that throughout history. And the author notes that social identity should continue to be utilized for this type of work and advocate for freedom, since there's more work to be done. But on the other hand, and this is kind of where the I think focus more lies with this paper, is looking at how important it is to recognize how group identities can restrict the freedom of their own members. And by this, the author is kind of pointing out that members of certain social identities might feel that the need for group thinking within a particular social identity is mandated over an individual's freedom to think differently. And members of these social groups should be able to both weigh their level of belonging to a particular identity and feel able to think differently as an individual within the group. And the author points out in this quote that the comfort one might experience by accepting the beliefs and attitudes of a social identity should not preclude freedom and the responsibility to scrutinize these beliefs and attitudes per se, and the consequences they might produce in different contexts. And so some key takeaways kind of from this is that I kind of gained from this were that it's important to maintain this balance between how we identify between these social groups, be able to think differently, scrutinize beliefs, but also recognize the value they have. And then also, it's important to, if you're a part of a social identity group with high groupthink and little accepted deviation from group ideas, it may be beneficial to see kind of what other perspectives there are out there. And because perspective taking and reality testing are very key components of conflict resolution that aren't comfortable, but necessary for constructive dialogue. So that's a brief overview of this study. And yeah, interested to hear what you both think of it.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is your, relating to your key takeaway, maintaining that balance. And I feel like that kind of shines light on conflict resolution practitioners out there and kind of the work that we do and how vital it is for just not even individual, I mean, group, collect the social identities of organizations and companies out there, but also the individual. Yeah, this is interesting. Kind of, again, as usual in these research updates, it aligns with the work that we do.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. It's very crucial for, I mean, it's exactly what our peace builders consultants do. Even just with some of even practical tools of perspective taking and widening individual horizons and all of that. Super important.
But this, just to clarify, sort of the lens that Zen uses,
Yep.
it's more of a like viewing freedom through almost like an economic lens, like
yeah.
Is that okay?
Yep. Yeah, that's actually a big part of it, is through this economic lens. And he talks a lot about the concept of scarcity. A lot I didn't put in this review, but a lot of talk about like the scarcity, or what do you call it? Self-interest. That's what I'm thinking of. How there's theories based off of Adam Smith, who's like the founder of economics, who claim that everybody acts in their own self-interest, and he kind of repudiates that and then focuses towards this idea, because people join social identities for he believes other reasons other than self-interest. But yes, it is different from looking at like the practical tools of perspective taking. It is more like of an internal, I think, recognition of how, and a commentary, I think, on social groups and how they can suffocate any sort of diversity of thought, I guess, within their own groups.